Started here back in the early 50s. This was a dirt track. Later it was paved. Over the years, 3 generations of both the Jarretts and the Earnhardts have raced here at Hickory. The late Bobby Isaac, this is where he started, along with Harry Gant. Tonight, a new driver will seek the checkered flag, and 75% of them, this is their first time ever at Hickory Motor Speedway, so they hope to etch their name into the record book mark.
And maybe down the road become one of the legends, like many others who have passed through here. Let's introduce you to the third member of our announce team who will be patrolling the pits, Doug Rice, who's with our pole sitter.
You're absolutely right, Mark and Bill. This indeed is stock car country here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. As a matter of fact, there's a sign about a mile from here on the major highway that runs by the Speedway. It says, "Welcome to Hickory, home of the 2-time Daytona 500 champ, Dale Jarrett." And of course, Dale Jarrett, Harry Gant, Dale Earnhardt, and a lot of the immortals of stock car racing cut their teeth right here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. And a guy that's absolutely no stranger to victory lane, as a matter of fact, he's the defending Slim Jim All-Pro champion, has struggled a little bit this year on the Hooters Cup circuit, but Hal Goodson, you got the pole for tonight.
Yeah, we got the pole. It's nice. It's the first time in a Pontiac, and you know, Hooterade and Hooters, they've been behind us and really supporting us, and you know, it's time to put this thing in victory lane, so maybe tonight will be our night.
Now, you're used to going to victory lane. Can you keep it up front all night long?
Well, I hope so. You know, me and Freddie's on the front row, and you know, we raced together a lot over the last few years, and you know, it's going to be a good show. There's probably 15, 20 cars here that's got a shot at winning this thing, so you know, we stay out of trouble all night, and yeah, maybe we can put this Pontiac in victory lane.
And of course, we're racing here at Hickory on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and this is the mecca of stock car racing this weekend. About 60 miles from here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, they just completed the Red Dog 300 Busch Grand National race. Matt Kenseth ran there today, hopped in the car, hopped up here. He'll be going to do battle tonight, of course, here in this Hooters Cup event as we celebrate Memorial Day at the Hickory Motor Speedway.
And it's going to be a great 200 laps of racing here around a terrific facility. Hal Goodson wearing a little bit of facial hair, maybe hoping that too will change his look. 28 cars lined up, and we're here to tell you that the Market Basket Food Stores 200 is brought to you by Market Basket Food Stores. There's always something special at Market Basket Food Stores. By Hooters Restaurants, home of world-famous chicken wings and the nearly world-famous Hooters Girls. Hooters Restaurants, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Jackaroo Barbecue Sauce. On steaks, chicken, fish, or even French fries, Jackaroo Sauce brings the Outback taste to all your favorite foods. And by Hooterade, the new sports drink from Hooters that gives something back. And we'll be back with the Grid and the Green from Hickory right after this. The crowd is settling in for 200 laps of action. 28 drivers have settled into their race cars. The command has been given to fire the engines, and they are now circulating the speedway, getting ready for action here at Hickory. And let's meet the top 10 drivers for tonight's Market Stores, Food Stores 200 in their own words.
Yeah, I'm Hal Goodson. I'm driver at Hooters, Hooterade, Pontiac Grand Prix, and I'll be starting from the pole position tonight.
Hi, I'm Freddie Query, driver of the Terminal Truck in Monte Carlo, number 8. I'll be starting second tonight.
The CC, number 2, Monte Carlo, starting third. I'm David Jew.
Driving a Robert Bork Farms Progressive Race Engines Chevrolet Monte Carlo, number 72, starting fourth tonight. I'm Mike Franklin.
Hi, I'm driver of number 53 Avco Chevrolet, starting 5th here tonight. I'm Scott Hansen.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Cope, Highlands Park, Florida, driving the Miller Beer Monte Carlo, starting 6th.
Driving the Coors Light Chevy Monte Carlo, number 42, starting 7th. My name is Mike Garvey.
I'm John Crow, driving the number 38 Chevrolet. I'm starting 8th tonight.
I'm driving the AFCO Springs and Shocks Griffin Raiders Heads by Rick, number 7 Chevy Monte Carlo, starting 9th. I'm Daryl Shelbuck.
Hi, I'm Randy Fox. I drive the number 4 Clayton Olden Trailer Truck Broker Emerald Coast Motorsports Chevy Monte Carlo, and I'll be starting 10th today.
And here's a look at the rest of the field for tonight's races. Tony Walls will start in the inside of row 6. Next to him, Ricky Sanders. Then on row 7, it will be Dwayne Dempsey and Mike Fritz.
from the All-Pro Racing Association.
On row 12, it will be Ronnie Sanders and Dick Anderson, who's had a lot of problems here this weekend. On row 13, it's Derek Kelly and Matt Kenseth, who did not have a qualifying time. On row 14, it will be starting Larry Raines and Randy Renfro, and that's a look at tonight's starting field for this Market Basket Food Stores 200.
Well, the drivers heating up their tires now, shuffling back and forth, and now they're starting to settle in to go 200 laps here at Hickory Motors Speedway.
And the Discount Auto Parts Fastest Qualifier $1,000 award goes to Hal Goodson, so he's already got 1,000 reasons to be happy about the way he qualified here tonight. His first time this season on the pole.
He really clipped a lap around here at 14.438 seconds, 90+ miles an hour, and that is exceedingly fast here at Hickory.
But the man on the outside of him is the current series points leader, Freddie Query, who has also led the most laps so far this year. One of the stories that we will be following closely in tonight's race. In 3 of the past 4 events, we have had a number of cautions and a number of incidents at the drivers' meetings for both the rookies and the general drivers' meeting earlier this evening. They admonished these drivers to start using their heads. There have been a lot of incidents that race officials believe did not have to happen, and let's see how well they listened as the field is formed up 2 by 2. The pace car is off the track. And our honorary starter, Steve Hunt from Market Basket Food Stores, has the green flag out. And here we go, round number 7 of Hooters Cup action.
Side by side, down the back straightaway, those 2 leaders are set to get bragging rights on the first lap.
But a terrific jump to get the 3rd spot goes to Mike Franklin, who has got a clear racetrack, as now Goodson will settle in and lead the first lap. And it is clean all the way around the Speedway.
While this race is basically starting at twilight, we will run into the evening and the night. The track will get cooler and they will get faster. There's an exciting battle right there as 2 drivers battling side by side. That's David Jude, who's the top qualifying rookie in the field.
And Jimmy Copen, they're going 3 wide into 3, but Scott Hansen thinks better of it and backs out. On the high side is the 38 of John Crow, looking for a strong run after some mechanical problems at New Smyrna. Hansen now is able to get inside, gets a good run off of turn 2. That seems to be the spot where a lot of the passing will occur, and Hansen does indeed take the 5th spot. But look at Jimmy Cope charging to the front, and John Crow right behind him. Jimmy Cope winless so far in 1996, but had a good qualifying effort, and qualifying is oh so important in this series. A bit further back in the pack, Mr. late model Jody Ridley in the green 98 on the inside, and the blue car 37 Larry Raines on the high side is Mario Goslin, the reigning series champion, and all the way on the track apron is Larry Raines.
Larry Raines right at the bottom of the racetrack. Now this is 2 grooves around the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, and a single file groove through turns 3 and 4. Most of the drivers say if there's going to be any passing, you will set it up between the 1st and 2nd quarter, and just like Larry Raines did, he moved Jody Ridley out of the position.
Now Larry Raines is trying to make this track actually a little bit wider than it really is, and Ridley is the one who pays the price. Larry Raines, who finished 8th in the series points last year, as we've got caution on the Speedway for an incident in turn number 2, and that will slow the field here initially. And look at Ridley moving up alongside of Raines, letting him know what he thought of that bump before, and that was Tony Walls, who went around in turn 2 on the 8th lap to bring out the first yellow of the evening.
Well, the Birmingham, Alabama driver going around will tag onto the rear of the field here in the early going, and it's growing darker with each and every minute. What we're going to see here tonight is one race on one of the tightest tracks in all of racing. This is .366 miles in length, less than 4/10 of a mile. Jody Ridley making his way towards the pits, possibly feels like he has a tire rubbing or some mechanical problem. He likes not to come to the pits now and will try to go back and take his rightful position on the field. Even though he's advancing forward right now, he wants to get into the pits so Brother Biddle can take a look at that car.
Let's take a look and see if we can determine what happened to Tony Walls up in turn 2. He's already sideways there now. The 4 car is Randy Fox, who qualified well. He'll go to the high side, get by, as will Dwayne Dempsey. This looked like down on the track apron. This can be a treacherous little facility here at Hickory Motor Speedway, as Ridley is indeed coming to the pits, and they're going to go to the right side and change rubber.
Really looking for a right rear tire. They're going to put that one on. He's got a 5-on-5 hub setup rather than a wide 5, so he can change tires fairly quickly as compared to some of the other drivers who are running what basically was an old dirt track type of wheel, a 5 wide, which is 5 lug nuts on the outer edge of the rim rather than on the inner side. Going to go to a double file restart, Mark.
You know, and that's actually, the sign is reversed, and it, you know, it kind of fools us too. I read it wrong the first time I saw it. It will be a single file restart. Also, as Jody Ridley left the pits, he passed the 0-1 car of Wayne Willard. We'll try to introduce you to all the drivers who are in tonight's race and give them as much exposure as possible. A lot of them are looking for sponsorship. This is a great way to get it, as the Hooters series is seen here on many of these prime affiliates. We hope you're enjoying the telecast tonight wherever you may be. If you can't enjoy it in front of your television set, we always invite you to go to a Hooters restaurant where they're always showing this and having a great time while it's going on. And we have the green back out, and a good jump by our race leader as he brings them back up to speed on the single file restart. And already Dick Anderson in the 92 car, who started well back. I'll take that back. That is actually David Jude. The paint schemes are almost identical on that car. And it's very hard to keep those two straight sometimes, but here's some action a little bit further back in the pack. Billy Bigley, who qualified 20th, trying to work his way forward. That's Dwayne Dempsey in the yellow 9 underneath.
Billy runs with basically a very soft spring setup, 175 pounds across the rear, 350 on the front. He says he does this so the car will roll and not develop so much tire temperature. He says he tries to save his tires till late in the race, and he likes a little roll in the car, especially entering the corner. It has a better chance of transferring weight from the rear to the front, thus planting the car. And Bigley still continuing to pass cars now, but back up front, Hal Goodson feels like he has the proper setup now to be able to lead and win races in the Hooters Cup Series as he leads Freddie Query. He's running a Pontiac for the first time that belongs to him.
It's actually the second straight race he's run a Pontiac, as we have yellow on the track for a second time on lap 16. And we'll try to get a determination from race officials for the cause of that. We believe it may have been for Tim Williams making his first visit of the season. We'll try to get a clarification on that in just a moment. But Hal Goodson is coming off 4 straight top 10 finishes. He got off to such a terrible start that he's just now climbing into points contention. And while the field is slowed, we'll take a few moments to step away and get in a few commercials for all the fine people who support the Hooters Cup Series. Back with more after this. Back at Hickory Motor Speedway, where we have just gone back to green moments ago. No change at the front of the field. Hal Goodson continues to lead in his first race in his own Pontiac. But the second race in a Pontiac, if you were with us a couple of weeks ago, you'll recall he ran the Lee McAllister Racing Pontiac, Bill.
Yeah, he borrowed the car for a single race at New Smyrna. They learned a great deal by driving that car. They found out that the engine and the Pontiac was lighter than what they've been running in the Ford, so they had 75 pounds less weight on the front end, and they have now decided to be committed to the Pontiac for this series and use their Ford in the All-Pro division.
And Larry Raines has gone around in the treacherous turn 4 to bring out the yellow. It will be a brief yellow for a single car incident, but Bill, this racetrack has got a couple of spots that can reach up and bite you if you're not careful.
Turn 4 has always been critical. Coming out of that corner, you have a tendency to start washing up, and if anybody makes contact with you, you have a tendency to go around. The other place is going into 1, and you can see the ripple right there across the bottom of your screen there. That is actually a little bump, and it does affect the cars. It seems to upset the balance, and oftentimes we will see problems developing getting into the first corner because there's so much weight transfer as they enter the turn and the bodies start to roll on these cars.
There is more than $75,000 up for grabs tonight, with $15,000 of it going to the winner. Outstanding pay all the way through the top 10 positions. Just starting tonight's race guarantees a driver taking home a minimum of $1,000. A couple of bonuses, too, that are available tonight. Hal Goodson has already picked up the Discount Auto Parts $1,000 for sitting on the pole. There'll be $1,000 to await a driver who leads at halfway. That's from the Country Fed Meats folks. $1,000 for the top rookie qualifier. That's already been won by David Jude. An excellent effort. In fact, the top rookie qualifying effort so far in 1996. So you take the $75,000 minimum purse and then all the bonus awards that are available, and it adds up to the richest short track purse week-in, race-in, race-out right here in the Hooters Cup Series. The $500,000 point fund at the end of the season, and we'll talk about how that breaks out as we are back to green and Hal Goodson continues to lead. But Mike Franken looks like he might want a piece of second place. We'll keep an eye on that.
Franklin was really dogging Freddie Query on the restart, especially when they came out of the fourth quarter now. This is the first time this evening that Query's not right up on the rear bumper of Hal Goodson. Everybody stringing out in single file. There's starting to be a little bit of nip and tuck as now Jimmy Cope's going to try to go for third place, trying to move beneath Franklin. You have to set up that pass coming off of the second corner. That's where the pass has to be set up.
And Mike Franklin washing up the speedway, and that is bad news as Cope is down underneath. Is he far enough up, or will he have to lift going into 3? This time he will lift. And he gets a little nudge for being courteous from behind by John Crow, who gave him ever so slight a tap and broke Jimmy loose for just a second.
Mark, you can't be too aggressive right now. If you are, it may very well take you out of the race or send you to the back of the field. And in doing so, it's really difficult to pass cars here at Hickory. Very quick racetrack, but one thing all these drivers will tell you to a man, it's almost like being in a constant turn. You constantly have your steering wheel cocked to the left, getting into the quarter, and now the battle for third place behind the leaders as they go down to the first quarter. Take a look at that.
Now look at that, 2 by 2 they go as the leaders pull away 10 car lengths over that battle for third, and a different line being taken by our top 2 cars. Query down beneath the yellow line down on the track apron. He's trying to find a way around. Boy, he's taking a different line than Goodson entirely around the Speedway.
A lot of folks think that Freddie Query started his racing career over at Concord Motor Speedway. That's not necessarily true. We'll tell you more about that shortly. Meanwhile, the top qualifying rookie driver, David Jude, has turned sideways and goes up and taps the outside retaining wall between turns 1 and 2. So we're under caution again here at lap 33.
And David Jude, the Kermit, West Virginia driver in the CNC Racing Chevrolet, goes around. It is very difficult to achieve success in this series with so many veterans, but this is on-the-job training for the rookie. We'll take this break and be back with more. We're on lap 33 of the 200 that make up tonight's race. Don't go away. Dick Anderson has had all sorts of problems this weekend. Lost the motor yesterday, having more engine problems tonight. A winner a couple of weeks back in the pits early, and we are back under yellow after just 2 laps of green for a spin on the backstretch. But what a tough break Anderson has had. He hardly had any laps yesterday after a motor seized on him, then couldn't get his car fired this afternoon before qualifying. Had trouble getting it fired for the race tonight, so a symptom of big engine problems for that Mopar Performance Parts Dodge.
He said he didn't have any power on top end, and he was lucky to even make the race, and he came in through the last chance qualifier. But Dick Anderson tonight is not going to be his night. Got some damage on the front end of that car. It looks like it might be running hot. He said he had no power in it whatsoever. Needs to get the engine back to Joey Arrington and have that thing checked out.
And he'll be also getting some engine help from Carl Wegner here in a couple of weeks, as Joey Arrington is so busy with the truck series that Dick is going to be getting some other assistance on the motor program here in coming weeks. No disrespect whatsoever to the engines that Joey Arrington builds.
Well, Mopar is really taking a position in many forms of automobile racing, with the exception of Winston Cup and Busch Grand National competition. Like you said, the trucks, the off-road, the stadium racing, and here in the Hooters Cup with this Dodge.
And update the top 5 for you as we reset, going green in 1 lap. Race leader continues to be Hal Goodson. Second place is Freddie Query. Mike Franklin, who had been running in the top 5, lost a lap a couple of moments ago, came into the pits, thought he was having a problem. He'll line up on the inside as a lapped car, but third place in the Speedway is Jimmy Cope, 4th John Crow, 5th Scott Hansen. Of those top 5 cars, only one of them has been to victory lane this year. And here's another look at what happened to us as Larry Raines got turned around, got a nudge from Jody Ridley. There was contact there. We won't assess blame, but you'll recall earlier in the race, those two did get together.
And Wayne Willard was really standing on the binders to keep from running into the back of Jody Ridley. A call has to go out to a driver who's right in the top 10 right now. One of his finest qualifying efforts and his run this evening's old Nevin Jenkins. Nevin's in the top 10 right now. I said, I'll talk about you, Nevin, if you do good tonight. He says, I'm going to do everything I can to get to the front. And looks like he's doing it.
Nevins has had a very difficult season in that Rogers Party Wings entry, but it's nice to see him out there. It's nice to see every one of these drivers have some success. This series is so competitive to a man. They all say any one of 20 drivers can win. This is a battle for position between Matt Tanseth and our series champion, Mario Goslin. Kenseth, who had to start way back in the field because he couldn't qualify earlier today because of Busch Grand National commitments at Charlotte, has picked off a spot. Mario Goslin is in a brand new race car, still trying to sort it out.
Well, the Carl Wagner built-in. We got a spin up in the fourth quarter. The yellow's going to fly again as the 61 car, Tim Williams from Mount Eula, North Carolina, a local driver, made it into the show in a spot in the fourth quarter, and we're having a rash of yellow fever.
A driver who's had success at Concord Motor Speedway in the Big Ten Series has brought out our 6th yellow on lap 46. This is not a great surprise to us, folks. This is no reflection whatsoever on the ability of these drivers. This is a tough racetrack. Now, Mario Goslin, here is a guy that's had all sorts of problems this season, and he's got a little special something on his spoiler that we noticed before the race, and we talked to him about it.
You know, we've had a fast car, you know, a lot of races this year, and we just haven't seemed to be able to win one or finish decent when we thought we should have had a top 2 or 3 car, you know, and so everybody's been joking with us, telling us we got a monkey on our back. So we came up with a little deal where we get the monkey off our back.
No monkeys?
I thought it was no monkeying around in reference to contact that's been all throughout the series this year, and then when he explained it, it made perfect sense. Well, he has sat on the pole at Anderson, but has yet to go to victory lane, and we are back at speed again.
Green is flying, and the 72 car that is running a lap down, Mike Franklin, wants to get back onto the lead lap, and he's battling the man that won the pole, Hal Goodson from Darlington, South Carolina. Goodson, the defending All-Pro National Champion. Freddie Query, we were telling you earlier that he got his start here at Hickory Motor Speedway. He said, you know, Bill, I came here with a street stock car, kind of like a limited sportsman inline 6-cylinder. I ran about 12 to 15 races, found myself broke.
Big trouble as Ricky Sanders, a rookie contender, and Matt Kenseth have come together in turn 2 for our 7th yellow.
Anyway, he said, I kind of went broke on my own trying to teach school, coach wrestling and football, and it kind of took me out of the action on Friday and Saturday nights.
And we're going to take a quick break here and be back with more action because this will be a quick caution. Don't go away. We're back at a green for one lap, and the battle up front has not changed any as Hal Goodson continues to lead. This is action a bit further back. The 98 Jody Ridley, the 01 Wayne Willard, a lap car. The 43, first time we've had a chance to talk about him tonight.
Jay Hedgecock.
And Jay Hedgecock from High Point, North Carolina. Let's take a look at the reason for our most recent yellow between Matt Kenseth and Ricky Sanders.
Look at everybody taking evasive action. They go to the high side of the racetrack. Beneath the scoreboard, turns 1 and 2. Kenseth, by the way, now running on the tail end of the lead lap after having an extended stay in the pits. And they threw the green before he came back onto the track. So he's running back at the back now. And he's about, a straightaway away from being lapped by Hal Goodson, the leader.
And we haven't talked to Doug Rice in just a couple of moments, so let's head to the pits for an update. And we'll go back to Doug in just a couple of moments. As now for the first time we've seen Goodson actually open up a pretty sizable advantage over Query, who had been pressing him a good bit earlier.
Goodson's starting to walk away from the field. He's feeling more comfortable in that Pontiac. A little further back, let's talk about Nevin Jenkins there. Nevin moving down to the inside of the 4 car, Randy Fox. Nevin actually going to crack the top 10 here on the green. He says we've got a brand new motor. And
hang on, here we go. And Dwayne Dempsey has gone around after contact.
Mario
a couple
Goslin.
Contacts there. Billy Bigley was the one who touched him. And now Mario Goslin's got a piece of it, as has Derek Kelly and Mike Fritz. But Fritz's damage looks superficial. Frankly, so does Dempsey for the most part. But this is another yellow, and let's take a look at this one. We were all over it right from the beginning.
The 9 skates around. That's Wayne Dempsey. Dempsey almost collects Billy Bigley up. Now watch everybody start taking evasive action, but the driver who's not going to be able to get by is coming in and crashes into the rear quarter panel of the car. That was the defending champion, Mario Goslin. And then the 6 came riding in there, and several other cars start stacking up.
And I think that gorilla, that 400-pound gorilla, is sitting on top of Mario's shoulders yet again. Let's step away for just a moment. We'll be back. We're on lap 62 of 200 here at Bruising Hickory. Mario Goslin is feeling a little bit under the weather here for a variety of reasons. His race car is damaged. His mom is ill back in Canada. We want to wish her the best for a complete recovery from her illness. So this has not been a good couple of days for the reigning Hooters Cup champion.
He really damaged the left front quarter of that car. Looks like he may have broken either a tie rod end or a lower ball joint because the wheel was askew when he came through turns 3 and 4, and he was really rubbing the rubber off of that car. We should have an update very shortly from Doug Weiss, and he's down trackside just a few moments with the top 10. We're going to take a look at that right now.
And as he has from the beginning of the race, Hal Goodson has been our leader throughout all 65 laps. Freddie Query is second. Jimmy Cope having a very strong run, as is John Crow. After a one-race absence, Scott Hansen is back and doing well. Mike Garvey, our most recent winner, sits sixth. Darrell Schoen had a good run. We talked about Nevin Jenkins. A great run going for Randy Fox, and Billy Bigley Jr. is sitting back there in the 10th spot. And we are getting everybody up on their feet as we are back at it again. And this is really where the lap car plays to the advantage of Hal Goodson.
Well, it'll block anybody trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, but at the same time, Franklin's trying to get his lap back and is really racing Hal Goodson extremely hard. Hal Goodson's dad is Howard Goodson, a former racer himself, raced on the dirt tracks and also the asphalt tracks of the Carolinas for a number of years, taking his son to the races. Used to run a golf station over in famed Darlington, South Carolina, and his son more or less has followed in his footsteps and of course presented him with that All-Pro championship last season.
Well, Mike Garvey, who won at New Smyrna a couple of weeks back, is chasing the Jay Hedgecock car. Jay is a couple of laps down. Garvey is trying to close up to get to Scott Hansen, who raced at Toledo in the Hooters Cup Series, finished second to Dick Anderson, then won an ASA race the very next week and is now back here. Says he plans on running the campaign for the rest of the season, but back up front, Freddie Query has dispatched with lap traffic, is now trying to catch Goodson in that brand new Pontiac with the Hooter 8 sponsorship.
Terminal Transport entry moves over to the inside now. He's going to try to root him up and out of the position by trying to take away that inside line as he drops the inside tires down on the dirt through the second and third corners. Down the back straightaway, he'll try to root him out as he comes off the corner. It takes a lot of torque to be able to pass someone in front of you at this track.
And it has not unsettled the car going through 2 as low as he is going, and that's a mark of a race car that is handling very well.
Is handling extremely well for this driver who would like to win the championship this season. There is Garvey now going by Jay Hedgecock. This car was driven at Anderson, South Carolina, the 43 that Hedgecock's in, by Sean Graham. The car has been driven on occasion by Bobby Hamilton, the driver of Richard Petty.
And trouble up in turn 1. Wayne Willard has connected with the wall. David Jude is able to stop, but that brings out the yellow rag for the 9th time. And we are on lap 76.
So we seem to be averaging about a yellow flag every 8 laps here in competition.
Here's a look at what happened over there in turn 1.
Should be just coming in the screen here. And we see Willard going sideways.
Second car, Shane Rice, also another of the cars involved. Could have been contact between those two. And look at the evasive action by everybody else. Jody Ridley sitting right there, trying to decide which way to go. Guesses right. And gets through clean.
Shane was trying to stand on the binders. He didn't want to run into it because he didn't want to damage his own race car.
And the Red Dog Beer Points Fund $500,000 at the end of the 20 race campaign. And look at what the winner will take home, $110,000. And that is good money all the way through the top 20. Nobody will be embarrassed to take that home to the wife and say, listen, hon, look what I got for just running all season long and surviving, which has been pretty much the story so far in 1996. That's good payouts all the way through the top 20 position.
This is the richest short track series, touring series in America. $110,000 going to the winner, and the payback through the field is exceedingly good. And a guy that would love to have this money is Hal Goodson, but Freddie Query's right behind him. And Freddie says, you know, in all the years that I taught school, I never saw $110,000 at any given time in my bank account. And I don't know if Gene Eisenhower had 110 in his either. We put a lot of money in this race car, the number 8 machine. Gee, $110,000 sends a lot of dreams up through his head.
And he freely admits that as the series points leader, he has to think about the national championship, and it may affect the way he drives that race car.
Well, he's not teaching school anymore. He retired from being an industrial arts teacher at Rowan High School.
South Rowan High School.
He's a very tough competitor, but Jimmy Cope looks like he's going to have a good run this evening. Jimmy Cope is presently in 3rd place. And John Crow is racing before the hometown crowd because so many of his supporters live over in Mooresville, North Carolina, only about 35, 40 miles away from the racetrack.
John Crow, a Legends champion, looking for sponsorship on that Robert Hamke number 38 car, as are some of the other drivers in the field. They're going to line them up, double file restart. We've averaged, okay, we've gone 76 laps with 9 cautions. Let's do a little bit of quick math, race fans. That's 8.3 laps for every caution.
I said 8 laps. I just rounded it off.
Well, that was good, Bill. That was real good.
I did that
we had our
head.
calculator here. You know, I carried the 2 and subtracted the 6 and came up with that number. And you want to bet that we're going to have another one within 8.3 laps?
Well, I don't know. Hopefully we don't. I'd like to see us at least get to lap 100 without a yellow flag. Be green at halfway so we can make that other payoff.
And as we mentioned, the fact that we've had a number of cautions is not necessarily a reflection of the aggressiveness of the competition or of the talent in the field. This racetrack is notorious for a lot of yellows. In fact, I believe the Busch Grand National all-time caution record was set on this speedway. All-Pro Series had a lot of cautions here, too. This is just a tough old racetrack to get around.
Good speed shot. Dick Westfall waving the green flag, and the cars streaming by on the front straightaway, down the back straightaway and into turn 3. And all these drivers will tell you, when you turn here at Hickory, you're in a turn except for just a moment on the front straightaway and on the back straightaway when you can unwind the steering wheel.
Query once again takes a few moments to work around Mike Franklin, who had some what he believed were earlier mechanical troubles, came to the pits, but really is having an excellent run. Calls Hialeah Speedway his home track. Races for Progressive Race Engines, Avco Shocks, and Robert Borick Farms. And those are the kind of people. They don't throw a tremendous amount of money at it, but they love racing, and they're supporting him every way possible. And there's another driver who has had success in the Florida Pro Series and would love to make his mark here. Look at how far down on the apron that we have seen Query go yet again.
Well, Freddie doesn't want to damage any portion of the front of this race car. He doesn't want to put a fender down on a tire. There's Raines to the inside of Jay Hitchcock, and Hitchcock, by the way, is having his troubles. He's washing up the racetrack, getting into loose marbles at the top, and has lost the handle on the race car that he has.
And if you've been with us throughout the telecast, you know that Jody Ridley in the 98 and Raines have already come together twice. The first time Raines was able to get by when Ridley got way loose, and then the second time Raines went around after contact. So we're going to keep an eye on these two for a while and see if action between the two of them has settled down a bit. We know up front that these two drivers have a great amount of respect for each other. They've run against each other for a long time, and you're not going to see much paint traded at all, if any.
Well, they have a great deal of respect for each other, but they have a lot of laps in competition against each other at Concord Motor Speedway, especially in the Big Ten Series, where Freddie has achieved several championships.
That's Kenseth, second in the series points, wearing the Market Basket colors on that Chevrolet for this race. A young man who has achieved success to a degree in everything he's run. He's only 24 years old, but in all pro races, he's finished in top 5 routinely. He's run in the ASA series. I should say, really, the ASA series is where he's been more consistent in the top 5 as the action's getting real fierce. And around goes Kenseth after hard contact.